Hey there, gang. It is time for me to put together my pull list at my local comic book store, working on books that are coming out in September. And as always, I start with the DC Comics. In this video, I will be letting you know what you should be buying in September for DC Comics and what you should avoid, largely by revealing what I intend to commit my money to and what I will not buy. So, if you like comic books, or maybe more importantly, if you want to get pissed off at me because I don't like the same books you do, then stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bobby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is a pull list episode. So yes, as noted, we will be looking at all of the DC books scheduled to arrive at your local comic book store in September, and I am putting together my pull list. This is kind of how it works. If you are not familiar with the modern comic book industry, you pretty much have to commit about 3 months in advance to what you're going to buy if you want to get it at all. But before we get to September, let us first take a look at the DC books that will be coming out in August. So this is kind of past tense for me because I've already ordered these books. I ordered them last month. Future tense for you because they haven't come out yet. And these are the 10 books that I ordered in August. And the reason we're doing this is we'll take a look and see how this changes, how this informs my purchases for September. For example, coming out on August 3rd, Crime Syndicate number 6. That's the last issue of that series, so that'll free up $4 in my monthly budget. And it's kind of how it works. I have a budget that has been imposed by the First National spouse. I have a credit line, as you will, not to exceed about $25, $30 a week. So yeah, basically, if I want to add a book, I have to cut a book. This Crime Syndicate ending that'll free up some space. You can see there the other books that I have coming in August. On the 3rd also, Batman The Adventures Continue, Season 2, number 3, and Green Lantern number 5. On August 10th, I added Batman 89, number 1, and if you're not familiar, that is a book that is continuing from the Tim Burton movies. The series is written by Sam Hamm, who wrote those movies, so that should be pretty cool. Also on August 10th, I have Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 5, Batman Urban Legends number 6, and Challenge of the Super Sons number 5. Just one DC book coming on August 17th for me. That's Blue and Gold number 2. And then on August 24th, we've got kind of a Superman version of that Batman 89 book. This is Superman 78. It continues from the Richard Donner movies. And it's not written by Richard Donner. Donner, several years ago, God, it might be 10 or 12 years ago now, Donner wrote a few books with his protege, Jeff Johns. And as I recall, and you tell me in the comments below if you feel differently, but as I recall, they weren't very good, and they were kind of late. They had trouble getting them out. So I'm kind of not surprised that Donner is not involved at this time. Or, well, I don't think Mario Puzo is still with us. Actually, I have to check. I'm not 100% sure Richard Donner is still with us. But anyway, I believe this is written by... We'll see in a moment. I think it's Robert Venditti. I can't quite remember, but we'll see. We're going to go over the solicitations for September in just a moment. And then the other book I bought in August, Wonder Girl number 4. So let us move on and take a closer look at these September books. And let's take a look at the stats. DC Comics will be publishing 63 comic books, what we call the floppies, 63 of them in September. The average cost, $4.48, a median of $3.99. And if you wanted to buy every single book that DC is publishing, at least, again, the pamphlets, the floppies, the regular comic books, brother, that'd set you back $282.37. Now, I don't know about you, but that's more than my car payment. So I'm not spending that much on comic books. I used to. There was a time, late 80s, early 90s, I was buying everything DC published. I had in my mind that I was going to put together a Carter Brothers type of collection, one each of everything DC had ever done. And so I was even buying the TSR books at that time, but I can't afford to keep up with DC these days. As far as the pages go, the median here is 32 pages, industry standard. Well, no, I take that back. DC is really the only company that is still doing a 32-page book, 36 pages when you count the covers. Every other book that advertises as 32 pages is actually only 28 pages. They're counting the covers to get to 32. So, yeah, Marvel's been that way. Marvel's only had 28-page interiors for many, many years now. And the average pages, because you've got some bigger books for a bigger price point, the average number of pages across those 63 books is 35.6. So let's take a look now at the chart. This is pretty groovy. And you can see here, if you want to buy DC Comics, you better be a Batman fan, because 22% of those 63 books feature Batman. Another 17% are Bat family, Robin, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Nightwing, that kind of thing. So what do we got here? 20, 30, 39%. 39% of the DC line is Batman. 8% is Superman. I think that's 5 books, Superman or Superman family. That counts the Supergirl book. And I did count, there are 2 books, Batman, Superman, and Super Sons. I did count those in with the Bat books. But 6% of the line is Wonder Woman. That's 4 titles. Same for Justice League. 30% for everything else in the DC universe. The ones I didn't put little labels on here, little icons. 5%, that is Milestone. 3% is, that's what would have been Vertigo at one time. That's the Black Label books, or I should say the Black Label books that don't feature Batman. And then 2%, that is the one Warner Brothers cartoon book that does not also feature Batman. So yeah, that's a look at what is coming September as far as the high-level 30,000-foot view. Let us now yoiks away and look at the actual solicitations for September 2021.
Yikes and away!
Okay, here we are, and for what it's worth, I use the solicitations at firstcomicsnews.com. I just find it most convenient. They have a drop down for all of the solicitations, so everything's in one place. I don't have to go searching for things, and they seem to do a pretty good job with the layout. So again, these are the books coming out in September, and I just have to kind of scroll through, so I don't know how much I'll be able to get on the screen at any one time, but this first thing, I Am Batman #1, and that's a skip for me because it's by John Ridley. John Ridley can't write a comic book. I discovered that during the Future State. He's a lot like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Neither one of them is a comic book writer. They write in other disciplines. Ta-Nehisi Coates is an essayist. John Ridley is a script writer. And frankly, too many people these days write comic books as if they are writing movie and television scripts. And that's not how you write a comic book at all. And so you've got kind of equal parts as far as problem goes. People don't want to tell John Ridley. They don't have the testicular fortitude to tell him that he doesn't know what he's doing. But also, the other part is nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody thinks that, writing like you write for movies and TVs is how you should write a comic book. Just doesn't work. Too decompressed, not enough story in any one issue, certainly not for $4 for something that's going to read in like 10 minutes. So that's just not for me. Coming down here is Batman #112, and I dropped Batman a couple of months ago when the price went up to $5.99. Now, I think DC chickened out on that. They stayed at the $5.99 for Joker, but they backed right back down to $4.99 for Batman. And I don't think the one that was supposed to be $5.99 actually came out at that price point. That would have been this past month, but I'd already dropped it. So I'm at a point where Batman, yeah, I'll check it out when it hits the stands. Maybe, maybe not, but it's not on my pull list anymore. They just basically DC broke the habit by exceeding my price resistance. They basically just chased me right off the book. So there you go. Same thing with Batman 113, and all of these things have about a zillion covers. Batman Secret Files Miracle Molly, probably not. $5, 40 pages. How much do I care about this character? Why is this not just a story in the regular title? I don't know. Catwoman 35, that's really not for me. Catwoman is one of those things that I kind of like in small doses. I've never really been able to warm up to an ongoing title starring Selena. I like the character, but again, small doses works best. Nightwing, I just don't get. I don't get Dick. I don't know why anybody would want Dick. But no, he's so superfluous. It's like, what is special about a Nightwing story that you can't get from any random Batman story? I think what I would like with Nightwing, if they gave him some kind of different purpose and drive that differentiated him more from Batman. I think what I would go for would be like a title, Nightwing and Flamebird. If he took on a protege, under the vow to be a better mentor to some young person than he feels Bruce Wayne was to him, and then, finding out that try as he might, being a dad isn't quite so easy as he thought, that might be interesting. That would be a book that I think would play to a lot of the fanboy market, a lot of whom are in their 40s and 50s and either have young kids or have had kids recently. I think that would be a book that would have an angle and an audience different from just what you can get from any other Batman book. But as of right now, Nightwing is not really for me. Detective Comics, Mariko Tamaki, she's been better than expected, but it's still not that great. And, $5 for 40 pages, that's really hitting that price resistance for me, especially when the backup story generally isn't that good. So this is a book that I kind of check out on the stands. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. If it's a small week and there isn't much for my pull list coming in, I'll grab a Detective Comics. But it doesn't go on my pull list. Harley Quinn, like Catwoman, and maybe even to a greater degree, Harley Quinn is preferable in small doses. I just can't get into an ongoing Harley Quinn book. Maybe that's just me. Batman Urban Legends. Now this is $8 for 64 pages. That's way, 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 way too much. I'm old enough to remember when I could get 100 pages for 60 cents. So $8 is really pushing it, especially when a lot of the stories just aren't that good. I mean, writers today and editors who frankly are no more than just, glorified production managers. They don't really know how to edit. They can't tell a story in less than 10, 12, 15 issues. So they certainly can't tell a complete story in 10 pages. And so what this is basically where a regular comic book is you just get a little snippet out of the middle of something. This is just a series of even shorter snippets. So I was buying this book because of the Chip Zdarsky story. Now that he's gone, that's an easy cut from my list. So I will be cutting Batman Urban Legends, won't be getting number 7. Batman versus BIGBY, Wolf in Gotham. Whatever. I mean, if that's what you're into. I was never really big into Fables. I mean, I recognize Bill Willingham, did a nice title, but I don't know. I could never sustain it for very long. And I don't have any interest in this. But again, maybe, when it comes out, I'll look at it on the stands and possibly, but I'm thinking quite likely no. And again, 6 issues, whatever plot is in here probably could have been done just as well in 2 issues or even 1. Now, these books right here, I don't get. There's 3 of these, and they all star Batman the World Special Edition. So set aside the creator, set aside the solicitation copy. I don't get this thing with the bundle. 25 cents sold in bundles of 25 for $6.25. So is that at the retailer level? The retailer can only get them in bundles of 25? Or does that mean the customer has to buy them in bundles of 25? I mean, can I get one of these books for 25 cents? I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, then yes. I mean, there'll be an impulse buy for me when these come out. I'll grab an extra book for 25 cents. Absolutely. I'll grab all 3 of them. But I'm not sure I need a bundle of 25 of them. So I just wish the solicitation would be a little clearer on that point, because a solicitation catalog, like previews, that is technically for the dealer. the customers use it, but it's an order form for the dealer, for the retailer. But these solicitations that go online, especially DC, where they don't really have a printed catalog, although I've heard they're going to bring one back, they need to direct this at the customer, the end buyer. And so I'm not going to put this on my pull list because I'm not sure if I'm buying 1 or 25. So there's 3 of them. And I would get, if they are 25 cents, I'll get even the Fortnite one, even though I care about 0 about Fortnite. Deathstroke, so even greater than Catwoman and even greater than Harley Quinn, Deathstroke is something I can only take in just small doses. Good villain, nice to see him appear in a different book here and there. But as far as, a sustained series, I read comic books as, as an escapist kind of fiction. I want to read about the heroes, imagine myself as the hero. I'm not really interested in following the villains other than as an adversary. So, yeah, there's a lot of books like that just don't appeal to me. This one, Aquaman the Becoming #1. So they say that, gay and trans and other types of minorities, they should have books about them. They want to see a book starring somebody that's about them, that's like them, blacks, Hispanics, whatever. And that's fair enough. But again, and you're starting here in the solicitation, it's all about a cute new guy in Amnesty Bay is one of his big points. One of the big plot points of this thing. That's not for me because, again, if your idea is that people want to read about themselves, then I don't particularly want to read about a gay guy. No offense. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But really, when it comes down to it, I don't care about, a superhero's love life. Even, when I was a kid, I didn't care about, Superman and Lois Lane or Batman and Silver St. Cloud in so much as just the very kind of high level kind of bubblegum pop naivete kind of love. I didn't need to get into the nitty gritty details. I didn't really need to know if Batman went down on Catwoman. That kind of thing. Back then, the love story was handled as very, very chaste. These days, and again, I think because they think they're writing movie and TV scripts, they think that a big part of every plot has to be the hero's love life. There has to be a love interest of some kind. And really, no, I just want to see heroes outsmarting villains. That's, big escapes and wacky traps and that kind of thing. Just really, the love interest is just the smallest, most minute part of that. Now, the other thing about this book is if you think about it, I get what they're trying to do, and so that's fine. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you that there shouldn't be more black heroes. It's absolutely true that through most of comic book history, everybody was white because the publishers were playing to the majority, the majority of their audience. And so more black heroes. Now, I don't think there's really need to make a big deal out of it because, way, way, way back in the 70s, possibly before you were born, the biggest heroes, my favorite heroes, were people like Black Lightning and from the Legion of Superheroes, Tyrock, So there have been black characters around for a long, long time. There's really no need to shoehorn in black characters or to try and replace, the straight Anglo-Saxon Protestant white guy with some minority. But I get the reason for doing it, and I don't fault them for that, except in this case that a black Atlantean makes no sense. If you hold to the out of Africa theory, we all started in Africa, and then those who moved north, who migrated to the north where there was less sunlight, we're mutants. White people are we're mutants, and being able to metabolize a little bit more vitamin D from a little less sunlight, that is our lucky special power. So the reason people are white is again because they live where there's less sunlight than you would get at the equatorial regions. The melanin is at a reduced level, which helps you to metabolize the vitamin D that your body needs. So if you live at the bottom of the ocean, how much sunlight do you get? So really, if you really think about it, if you stop and think for a moment, not only should an Atlantean not be black, because they would have evolved, Atlantis has been down there for, let's say, 10, 15,000 years, at least since the Younger Dryas impact. Not only would an Atlantean not be black, an Atlantean most likely, their skin would be so white it'd be almost translucent. They would, the veins in your skin where you can see the little veins, you would see that even more. Marvel's Atlanteans with the blue skin, that is probably mostly what an Atlantean would actually look like, quote unquote, in the real world. So I don't know. I will take a look at this when it comes out, and maybe I will get it. The other thing too I don't understand about this, not to really belabor the point, but from the Young Justice cartoon, what was the character's name? Calderon, something like that. This is a different character, except that he's the same character. He looks the same. He's got roughly the same powers, the same backstory, more or less. It's just a different name. They're both gay, or at least I think the Calderon version is supposedly bi. But it seems to me like this character. What is his name? It's Jackson Hyde. Which great name, by the way. But it seems to me it's like the anti-Black Lightning. I don't know if you know the story that when they put some new characters into the Super Friends cartoon, they were going to use Black Lightning, but then they discovered and I don't know if that's Warner Brothers or Ruby Spears or whoever, realized how much they were going to have to pay Tony Isabella in royalties to use Black Lightning. So instead, they invented a character who was almost exactly the same, but just different enough that they could basically screw Tony out of the royalties that he was due, and they created Black Vulcan. And so this seems like kind of the same thing in reverse. Would DC have had to pay money, to Warner's or whoever the production company was that did the Young Justice cartoon? And even though I know that's, if it's Warner, then that's just, taking money out of one pocket and into the other. But would they have had to have paid a fee to use Calderon? And is that why they came up with this almost identical character who's different? Basically a name only? I don't know. Black Manta #1. I don't know. I probably could do a 4-issue Black Manta. I could do a couple issues of an Aquaman series that focused more on Black Manta. But again, my problem is, one, the villains tend to interest me less as the protagonist. I prefer them more as the foil. But also, I know from experience that this 6-issue limited series is probably going to have at most about 3 issues of actual plot. You'll have a really good setup in the first issue. Second issue will be kind of slow. Third and fourth and fifth issues will be pretty much filler. And then the last issue will just kind of like wrap everything up all of a sudden, a nice quick bow in the last half of the last issue. So I'm really kind of burnt out on these kind of 6-issue things. Yeah, I don't have 6 months of my life to give over to this thing at $4 a pop. You do the math. Because I'm not a math guy. What is that? 6 times 4, 24. That's a lot of money. I could buy a novel for $24, and it would keep me busier a lot longer than this thing will, and I could read it in a week and a half, as opposed to committing 6 months of my life to this damn thing. So there's my rant on that. Harley Quinn, the animated series, the Eat Bang Kill Tour, whatever. I kind of like the animated series, and it surprised me. I didn't think I would. I was shocked when I heard the first F-bomb. It took me a little while to get over it, but once I accepted it for what it was, it was fun. I like the Killer Shark from that. I don't know if this is going to be the same Killer Shark, although this middle cover looks kind of the same, but this is kind of the same. I don't know if Killer Shark can sustain a 6-issue series, and I know it's going to have about 2 or 3 issues of actual plot. And again, it's going to take 6 months of my life. It's going to cost a total of $24. When the trade comes out, it'll probably be $17. So, I don't know. DC just doesn't quite get it, I guess. Are you afraid of Darkseid #1? No, but I am afraid of this $10 price tag. $10 for 80 pages. That's a hard pass every time. I'm sorry. And the other thing too is these prestige format, these square bound books, you can't read the damn things. For one thing, the way they print them these days, you can't hardly touch them without getting fingerprints all over them, even, no matter how clean your hands are. But also the other thing is that, just to open them enough to read them, you bend the shit out of the thing. So it's not a package that's conducive to actually reading, and it's a price point that is just way out of control. These should be saddle stitched, with the staples. We know that an 80-page book can be done that way, or it should have a much lower paper stock of cover, as with the old 80-page giants of old. Those were square bound, but at least you could open the damn thing and read the part of the page that was closest to the centerfold without bending the book all to hell. So yeah, this isn't for me. I am not buying any $10 80-page book. I will wait, and I will, a couple of years from now, I'll pull this out of a dollar box. Titans United, DC is just, they've screwed the pooch on the Titans. Really, ever since, the New 52, and they sent Cyborg to the Justice League. What remained of the Titans from that point on, they just never could quite get a handle on, and they went back and forth on the continuity time and time again, and I don't even know who the Titans are anymore. The new Teen Titans, the George Perez, Marv Wolfman books, those are some of my favorite books of all time, still to this day. The original Teen Titans series I love, but I just can't get into the Titans anymore. I don't know. The Joker. So now we're getting into some new trade paperbacks, some collections, and it tells you a little bit about the direction that DC is moving. I think away from the floppies, away from the periodicals, and more into books, things that they can distribute through Penguin Random House as that deal solidifies. So, moving on to Action Comics, I dropped these books. Philip Kennedy Johnson didn't do it for me at all. I had dropped the Superman books during the Brian Michael Bendis. Everybody's got to have three names. I had dropped the books at that time because they were just so bad. But I had picked them up again with the advent of Philip Kennedy Johnson, mainly because other people online, such as Perch and Joe Corallo, and Wes from the Thinking Critical channel, they were all high on Philip Kennedy Johnson. But after reading his first book, that House of L, where you've got this son of Superman rampaging across the galaxy for reasons they never quite explain, just murdering and mayhem and killing and wiping out planets. And then, old man Superman shows up and he's just like, "Oh, come with me, my son. I will show you how to be a hero." And that's it. And then they just go off. And it's like, are you shitting me? Are you absolutely shitting me? No. Superman's, great struggle there would be the fact that he has to bring his own son to justice, not ignore all of his crimes, ignore his mass murder and genocide, and, I will circumnavigate the law and teach you how to be a hero, and that will just undo everything you've done. No, I'm sorry. I'm like, I side with Jim Shooter. Just like Jim Shooter said that the Phoenix had to die for wiping out a planet, you don't just, Superman shows up and says, "Hey, I'll handle this." I'll teach you how to be a hero, and all the people you killed, I'm sure their families will feel better. So, that turned me off so much. I wasn't able to get into the super books after that, and so I dropped Action Comics within a couple of issues. Here's Batman 89, number 2. We've already talked about that, and that is on my list. Batman Reptilian. People are very high on this book, but I am not paying $5 for a 32-page book. That's just a price grab. All they did, took a regular book, which really, didn't need to be its own series anyway. You don't need 47 bajillion zillion Bat books out there. You could have just made this story appropriate to be, an arc in a regular Batman title. But in so much as it had to be its own series, there's no reason that it had to be in the format that it's in other than a cash grab to try and eke a little bit more money out of the fanboys. And I'm sorry, just because you put it in a cardstock cover, I'm not paying $5 for a 32-page comic. No way, no how. Batman Adventures Continue Season 2, so I'm continuing on with that. Batman the Detective, this was a weird thing. It's just because, you had Batman, and then they came out with Batman Dark Knight, and they had Batman Urban Legends, and then they came out with Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, and they were like, oh, crap, these things are too close in title. So after the solicitation, but before the book actually came out, they changed Batman Dark Knight to Batman the Detective, although there's still confusion because you've got Detective Comics. So it just goes to show there's too goddamn many Bat books when you can't even differentiate your titles for the different books. How's the normie supposed to think? How's the normie supposed to tell one book from the other? Batman Superman, this is apparently, where did I see here? Series finale. So that's the last issue. I have to imagine that is going to be replaced with something else on the schedule, but who knows what that is going to be. Maybe it'll be a World's Finest Comics type of thing. I don't know. Blue and Gold, that's a Beetle Booster Gold buddy book. Although somewhere I got lost in DC's constantly changing continuity. I thought Ted Kord still had a bullet to the head from Maxwell Lord, but I guess he got better. Challenge of the Super Sons. This is a book I enjoy. I've said before, I would love for DC to just restore the original multiverse, just undo the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And there's word they're going to have a new Crisis coming up here within the next year or so. The end result of that, to me, should be restore the original multiverse. You can shift your focus to a new Earth 1. In the original Earth 1, let's call it Earth 56, because that's kind of when the Silver Age started. What was Earth 2, we can call, Earth 38, because that's when Superman made his debut there. But, what was Earth 1, and now we'll call Earth 56, I would like for the Super Sons to be a continuation of that classic Silver, Bronze Age, Copper Age continuity. That's where that would fit best, I think. Right now, it's just kind of confusing, and you just have to accept that it doesn't really fit into any continuity, except DC is trying to fit everything that ever happened into one continuity, one timeline. Checkmate, that's a whole lot of what the hell ever. Brian Michael Bendis, probably not for me. Crush and Lobo, I've talked about how the villains really don't do it for me as the protagonists of an ongoing series. Lobo, I absolutely despise. I hate all of those, grim and gritty 90s characters. I will never be down for a Lobo book. DC Horror presents The Conjuring, The Lover. Well, 3 titles in one, I guess. This is a whole lot of whatever. I mean, if that's for you, great. I'm glad it's there for you, but probably not for me. Future State Gotham, I've got really no interest in that. The whole thing with the Magistrate was just kind of tired and old before it even began. Green Lantern, I don't know. I kind of like this book, but I kind of don't. I wish it was a regular price book. Well, I wish the regular price was lower as well, but I don't know. I'm sticking with this one for now. Hardware Season 1. I've told you, and also we've got here Icon and Rocket Season 1. Yeah, I've told you before that they write too many comic books these days as if they're writing movie and television scripts, and that only exacerbates the problem when they start calling them season 1 and season 2 or whatever, thinking in terms of seasons, because in one comic book you don't even get like a full episode of it. If it was a TV show, basically all you really get in any one standard 32-page comic book is, if you thought of it like a TV show, that's like kind of the 10 minutes in between commercial breaks. So I don't know. It was really, honest to God, it was the whole season 1 thing that I was like, okay, this Milestone stuff is just going to be too decompressed. I'm not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be a good entertainment value for the price I'm going to have to pay. So I just skipped all of those books. Infinite Frontier, this is not on my pull list. I'll take a look at it when it comes out. I might get it, rather it looks good, as I've been kind of picking away at this one issue by issue. Or if there's a lot of buzz on the YouTubes, I might pick it up just to see what everyone's yammering about. Justice League by Brian Michael Bendis. Yeah, I don't hate Brian Michael Bendis. I hate what he did with Superman, and I absolutely, hate with the blazing intensity of a billion white hot suns what he did with the Legion. But on the whole, I don't hate him the way a lot of YouTubers do. But I just don't feel that Justice League plays to his strengths as a writer. So all of these Justice League books by him, I'm skipping. Justice League Infinity, that's a whole lot of whatever, I guess. James DeMatteis has me blocked on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Twitter. I don't know why. He's had me blocked for years, but just as a rule of thumb, I don't buy books by people who have me blocked on social media. So, and I don't even know if he knows why he blocked me. He might have just caught me up in some mass block bot thing. So, Justice League Last Ride number 5. I do like Chip Zdarsky, but I don't know. I just couldn't see the point or purpose to this book. I don't need 6 different Justice League books at any one time. Legends of the Dark Knight, I've been kind of picking away at this issue by issue as it comes out on the stands, checking it out. So far, I bought every issue. I'll probably stop at some point, but I don't want another Bat book enough to put it on my pull list. Looney Tunes. I think I will actually put this on my pull list. For one thing, it's $2.99, but it's a fun premise. With print publication on the way out and information going online, newspaper reporter Cluck Trent is out of a job. And I can emphasize with that, having been a newspaper reporter for about 15 years, which encompassed all of the period where the internet kind of moved in and took over. But at least he has his heroic identity as Superduck to fall back on. Or does he? Up there in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. What is that? Who cares? I care. I think I am actually going to add that to my pull list. And Looney Tunes is a book that, like a lot of times, it's an impulse buy. If I have a small week, not a lot came in from my pull list, I'll grab it, I'll add it in. But it's not usually something that I've pre-ordered, and in this case, I think I will, just to make sure they don't sell them all before I get there. Mad Magazine, you really can't talk about Mad Magazine anymore because it's just all reprints. It's not even the usual gang of idiots. It's the former gang of idiots. This is actually the cover to, I think, Mad 170. I saw it just recently because I graded an issue to sell on eBay for the company that I work for. So, Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom, number 5. That's nothing that interests me. I don't have a lot of interest in the original Scott-Free Miracle Man. Never mind this. I think this is like the 3rd iteration of Miracle Man. And I think this is an ongoing series, but not for me. Pennyworth, whatever. This is tied into the TV series. I'm not even sure what channel that TV series is on. But, I skipped it. Robin, it's Damian. I really don't like Damian other than in the Super Sons where, John kind of tones him down a little bit. Kind of, complements and contrast with him. But on his own, he's just a little punk and I can't stand him. Rorschach, Tom King also has me blocked on social media. So again, rule of thumb, block me on social media. I don't buy your books. So anytime DC publishes something by Tom King, I don't buy it until he unblocks me. Ruby Justice League, who knows, who cares, I don't. Sensational Wonder Woman, I don't really get the point or purpose to this book. And it is the final issue. I think this is something that was an online book first. So we got 2 things to talk about here. One, I could go for a Sensation Comics anthology series that was all the women of the DCU, with maybe like, Adam Hughes covers, or who's the other guy that does the covers there, Art Germ, or Frank Cho, as well. And inside you could have Wonder Woman, but also maybe Vixen, Zatanna, Black Canary, whoever else. But Sensation Comics as maybe Madame Xanadu, if you want to kind of mix up the genres a little bit. But Sensation Comics as sort of an all-female book without making a big deal out of the fact that, it's all women, it's women liberation, the hell with men kind of thing. You know, just some cool, kick-ass women, and leave it at that. You know, the point and purpose is not to hate on men, just, you know, to highlight the women, and of course also for the fanboys, a little cheesecake art. A little something for everybody. But the other thing too is these digital first books. I'm on the verge of dropping the DC Infinite app. You know, once they took away all the TV shows and didn't move all of them over to the HBO Max, and they're only adding like new books, and they haven't added any golden, silver, bronze age stuff. And that's what I want the app for. I want it to be able to read those classic things. You know, like the golden age stuff that I can't afford to buy, or the silver age stuff. You know, the Bronze Age stuff that maybe I can't find, or I want to read it again, but I don't want to pull out my issues, my print copies. But they just keep churning out this new stuff that's just dreck. So, I don't know. Really all I have to say there. Shazam number 3. I would love to love a Shazam series, but I just don't think this is it. Static season 1. Same thing with the other Milestone books. I presume and fear that's just going to be too decompressed. The mode of storytelling, that it's not going to be worth my money. Strange Adventures, Tom King, blocked me, not buying it. Pretty horrible anyway. Suicide Squad, I could like a Suicide Squad book, and I was buying this, but I kind of dropped it just because, again, takes too long for anything to happen. Not enough happens in any one issue to be worth $4. You know, it only reads in about 10 minutes. So I dropped that. Suicide Squad Get Joker number 3. That's just a cash grab. That's just put Joker's name on something. Anything, doesn't matter. $7 for 48 pages. Sorry, not for me. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow number 4. Tom King. Nope. Superman 78. And it is Robert Venditti. I mean, when I started this video about an hour ago, I said I thought it was Venditti who was writing this. And it is. And I am actually looking forward to this. Superman and the Authority. I guess if you like the Authority, that's something for you. If you like Grant Morrison, that's something for you. I don't. Grant Morrison runs hot and cold for me. Some things are all right. Other things he does are just absolutely bewildering. Like they only make sense to him and the voices in his head. I do like Mikel Janin, the art. So I might check that out on the stands when it comes out. Actually, the first issue of this should already be out. But I don't know. And again, $5 for 40 pages. Again, you're pushing it. Superman, Son of Kal-El. I don't really need that. You know, I read the Superman 2020 stories back in 1978. And I hate the whole aging John up. I get why Brian Michael Bendis did it, because he wanted Superboy in his version of the Legion. But he just basically destroyed the character, who was just perfect as a 10-year-old. And we missed out on all of that stuff between these 2 points. Now he's an adult. There's really nothing about him that's, you know, I'd rather be reading about Superman, frankly. Teen Titans Academy, this is part of the whole thing. The DC's just so screwed the spooge on the Titans that I can't get into the Titans anymore. Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries, that's a book I buy. That's a fun book. Looking forward to that. This one is going to be kind of cute. It's going to be kind of out of continuity, I guess, because it's going to have the pup named Scooby-Doo versions of these characters. So that'll be really interesting to see how that goes. I don't know how long this series is going to last, because, I mean, every issue is a team up with Batman and Scooby-Doo. I did like the Scooby-Doo team-ups book that preceded this, but I don't know how many times Batman and Scooby-Doo can team up without resorting to things like this. The Flash, DC just destroyed Wally West. I don't even want to read about him. And I think this is Wally. This is not Barry Allen, and I don't know where Barry Allen went. Again, I like the Flash, but if we do what I said earlier, that, you know, the next crisis should end with a restoration of the full and complete original multiverse. We just have a new Earth. It's going to be our Earth 1, our new focus. Then I think they should pull a Julia Schwartz and just reboot the Flash. They don't have to go to quite the extent of the Tangent universe. They can still be within the same, genre. Guy runs fast, but just like we moved from Jay Garrick to Barry Allen and eventually Wally West, just have a whole new guy. On this new Earth One, Barry Allen's in the past. We might visit him. We might see that Earth's version of Barry Allen at some point. But the guy who became the Flash is somebody else. Change his costume a little bit, change his origin. Don't make him a bad dad. We make him a heroic character. But I think the best thing to do is to just move on and leave Barry Allen and Wally West out there as characters that can be visited from time to time, because we know the Flash, hops multiverse realities pretty easily. Just changes his vibrational frequency, and there he is. We can visit, like I say, Earth 56 Flash or the Earth 38 Flash Jay Garrick. But I think we just need an all-new Flash. Joker, I stopped buying this book when it went to $6 for 40 pages. Not going to do it. Joker presents a puzzle box. That's just like the Suicide Squad Joker book. That's just a cash grab. $6, 40 pages. Sorry. Nice House on the Lake. That's a nice book if it's for you, but it's not for me. This is one of those things. It's like, why is it a comic book? You're basically writing your script for your proposed Netflix show. There's really no reason for this to be comic book that I can think of. Swamp Thing, I tried Ram V's first few issues. There are people out there who are very high on it. I was just kind of meh. But Swamp Thing has never been really, even when Alan Moore was doing it, it wasn't right at the top of my list. I had to really work to enjoy the Alan Moore Swamp Thing because everybody told me I should enjoy it and how, artistically grand it was. But I don't know. Swamp Thing, Man Thing, The Heap, all of the Muck Monsters, just, I don't know. If it wasn't $4 a pop, if we got a full and complete story in every issue or couple issues, I suppose. But, well, I guess this was originally, I thought, going to be an ongoing series, but now it looks like it's going to be 7 of 10. But again, I don't know. Wonder Girl, this I have enjoyed. I do like Joelle Jones. I like her artwork very much. I think she's doing well. She's not the artist on this particular issue. As a writer, I think she's fine. Yeah, that's a book I've been enjoying. Wonder Woman. Maybe the least said about Wonder Woman right now, the best, I guess. I don't know. Wonder Woman Black and Gold. This is another cash grab book. To me, if you're having fewer colors, then your production costs are lower. And even at the price of getting some big name artists, not that I particularly recognize any of these artists. Well, Nicola Scott, she's worth the price of admission every time. But I don't know if I really know the rest of the names. Cena Grace, that scares me instantly. But even at the cost of big name talents, having lowered your cost by limiting the number of colors, the book should cost less than a regular book, not more. So $6 for 40 pages, not for me. And then the rest of this is all the the backlist items, and so there they are for you. But that's it. So it looks like my pull list for September is going to look pretty much almost exactly like my August list, but for the things that I have dropped, and but for did I have one add-on? Oh, I added the Looney Tunes book. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look and see what we're going to commit to for September. So yeah, here are the DC comics that I will be getting in September, the ones that I have committed to, that I have added to my pull list. As you can see, Crime Syndicate ended. I've dropped Batman Urban Legends. I did go ahead and add in that Looney Tunes book, so nothing else new appealed to me, so I am down to just 9 books from DC in September. How does the rest of my pull list look? Well, come back. We will do Marvel next, and then we will move through each of the companies until we have completed my order at my local comic book store for September. We'll see what I'm getting that you're getting, what I'm not getting that you're getting, invite you to comment down below. Let me know why I should add a book that you love that I'm currently passing on. Let me know why a book that I'm getting that you think is awful should be cut, should just not make the list. So anyway, until next time, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.